Good afternoon. My name is Juanita. I'm the licensee in Centurion. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Today we are going to look at the admin portal. We're going to do a deep dive. In other words, we're going to go and work through the admin portal at a much slower rate than we did yesterday, for an example. So we're going to look at all the main tools, where's your resources, and where's your marketing material, documents, and then also our video library and the student management system and the student session booking system. Right, so I'm going to present to you. And here we have the licensee dashboard. So on the licensee dashboard, on the left-hand side, you will notice there's quite a few tools here. There's the home button for the portal. There you will find manage students, your view statistics, referrals, manage portal users, view and manage resources, settings, view and manage preferences, and then also help and support. Now we look at the top right hand side of the screen. There we have our search bar, so you can search for anything over there. Then we have our notification button. That's all notifications and updates and communication from head office. Then on the profile tab, we have the account details. Now on your account details, you will find all your email addresses, usernames and passwords for signing into the different systems, and also your center certificate. So if you go to the account details over here, there's a link there. You can download and print your center certificate from there. Right, and then the last tab we've got over here is your sign out tab. So we are mainly going to look today at our home tab and the three functions over here. So we're going to go into the documentation tab, the students tab, and the student session tab. So let's start with documentation. Now on documentation, this is where you'll find all the resources that you need for running your center successfully. So let's go look. The first tab gives us our Computers for Kids logos. So on our Computers for Kids logos, there's a variety of Computers for Kids and e-learner logos that you can use in your marketing material. They're available in different formats. The only request from head office is to ensure that you keep the logos in proportion, clear, not blurry, and not stretched at all. So make sure that you just, if you look at your logos when you copy and paste them or move them or make them bigger and smaller, that they look the way that they should here on the portal. So you can use any of the logos here in the portal. There's also a beautiful Coding and Robotics logo. And it says here in the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. So that looks very, very nice. So if you're going to go into coding and robotics, then please remember to include this logo on all your marketing material. And remember, marketing material, social media, printed media, doesn't matter where you advertise or market, make sure that all the logos are always there. You can also add the Computers for Kids and e-learner logos to any existing marketing material that you have. So if you have an existing business with an existing logo, you don't have to remove your logo. You can just add the Computers for Kids and e-learner logos to your marketing material. The next button we have is our curriculum overviews. And here you'll find all the main curriculums overviews that you will need. Now, the curriculum overviews are very handy when you do marketing. because helps you, it assists you in explaining to parents or your audience how the lessons will gradually get more advanced, what's the different lesson topics and themes, what is the programs that be used in that lesson. So it just makes your life a lot easier if you've got this on hand when you do marketing or presentations. So the first overview document is our digital skills curriculum. So remember, digital skills is our primary school curriculum. Then we have our e-learner community. Now remember, community is our adult curriculum, everybody over the age of 16. Then we have our e-learner for educators. So these are course specifically for educators. Now it covers the same units and outline as the community curriculum. The only difference is that the lesson themes are created for a school environment. So it's typical things that the educator would want to know how to do in their classroom environment. Then we have our eLearner Plus. That's our high school curriculum from grades 8 to 10. We have our Minecraft curriculum, and then also our coding and robotics overview document. So here's all the curriculum overviews that you need for marketing purposes. Then on databases, there's only one database currently in this section. It's the NGOs in the Western Cape. So on that point, I would like to encourage you that you should make contact with NGOs in your area. There's a lot of them that's got budget available for training and development. So make contact with the NGOs in your area and go do a presentation, show them the community curriculum, and see if there is money available to train people in the community. That's a very nice way to access funds. And then at the same time paying it forward in your community. Usually when we work with NGOs, we drop our prices slightly because we've got groups, but that will be an agreement between you and the NGO. Then on our e-learner information. On the e-learner information, the first document here is the e-learner syllabus. So it will explain to you exactly what e-learner is all about. In other words, the e-learner syllabus also covers from primary school. So it will show you exactly what is covered in the different units, so that you know that the learners are prepared when they get to the assessment in grade 7 or grade 10, or as in the community, the platinum version. Then there's also a PDF document about the e-learner assessment system. So this is your assessment instruction manual. So if you haven't worked with the assessment system yet, we've got videos available on our library, and you can watch a video and then go and schedule yourself an exam. Remember, if you pay your license fees by the due date, so in other words, if your fee is paid on time by the end of January, the 31st I think it'll be, then you will receive a skills card. And that means that you can write the assessment. You'll obviously then write the platinum assessment, and that way you'll learn what type of questions will be asked, how do they ask the questions. And I found when I wrote the assessment, I also wrote it years ago in the beginning, when I did the assessment, my picture for what it is that we need to do was completed. So I had a much better understanding of how to train my learners, what should I put emphasis on, using terminology where appropriate, and preparing your learners from day one as if they're writing exam. And that is what I do with all my learners. Doesn't matter if you're 4-year-olds or if you're 50-year-old, I always take a learner and I assist them and guide them and train them as if they're going to write the assessment, irrelevant if they're going to do it or not. That way I know I'm working according to my set standard. So I'm not dropping my standards for anybody just because they might not write the assessment. That way you've got control, you've got a limit, you've got a guideline that you're working according to, and you know your learners are all getting the best skills that you can uh, bestow upon them. Then we have an example of a skills card. We have example of the e-learner certificate. So this one is for a platinum certificate. Then we have also a gold certificate and a silver certificate. Now the silver certificate is for our primary school learners, and then gold would be for high school, and then the platinum is for adults. So everybody over the age of 16 basically can write the platinum. Then we also have an example of the eLearner Foundation certificate, and again included is our digital skills curriculum overview. On our emotional intelligence, there's two things here that you can keep in mind. The first is our lovely EQ meter that we have here. So this is a PDF, or see, it's also a Word document. It used to be just a PDF. Basically what you're going to do, you're going to print that in full color. You're going to laminate the whole page, and then you're going to cut the 2 circles. And then the bottom or the top circle, this one here, there's a wedge that you're going to cut out as well. So you'll take this circle and put it on top of that circle, and then you can fasten it. You'll see there's a little dot over there where you can insert a pushback pin. So you fasten the top circle on top of the bottom one, and you can turn it. So now you've got an EQ meter. So I use this EQ meter with my foundation phase learners before they start with the class. So I'll make sure the EQ meter is lying next to their computer keyboard. When they get in and as they're settling in, they get to learn very quickly that we are indicating our emotions today, and then they'll select one of the 4 emotions. Now, the reason why this is important, especially with our younger learners, is a lot of learners don't know how to deal with their emotions, or they don't recognize or respond or any the physical emotions. And we're trying to teach them that it's okay to have emotions. You should have emotions, and that's what makes you a human being. So this EQ meter basically teaches our learners that they should recognize their emotions and embrace it. If you're not feeling good today, for an example, this one is it's not a good day, and then we've got I need a friend, and that one is doing groovy, I think it is, or doing great. So depending on which emotion they are on, sometimes our learners just need a little bit of a TLC, and that will give you a good indication of who those learners are that needs some special attention. Sometimes it's something silly like my friend took my sandwich, or my friend said they don't want to play with me anymore, or mommy had a fight with me this morning before I went to school. It's whatever affected them for the day. Have a quick discussion with that learner, put them at ease, let them talk to you about it, and you will notice that once you've spoken about their feelings, they will perk up and they will be in a much better mood, and you will be able to continue your class without too much of an interruption. Then there's also 3 useful websites that you can visit if you want to know more about emotional intelligence. On our holiday workshop ideas, there's some lovely holiday workshop ideas here. Keep in mind that if you're marketing for holiday workshops, you should start at least a month to 6 weeks before the next holidays. So basically what that means is you would have to start next week marketing for the March holidays. Because remember, schools are closing at the end of March, not in April only. So make sure that you start at least by the 10th of February marketing holiday programs. Holiday programs are ideal to get learners into your center. And remember, if you're in a community where there's a real need to keep our learners off the street and in a safe environment during school holidays, then this is for you. The idea is to get as many kids involved with your holiday program and then to retain some of them when the term starts again. And then they can join your program, your usual training program that you've got during the week. So this is the ideal way of getting the exposure and get people to come and look and see what it is that you are doing at your center. So you can basically have any training holiday workshops. You can have a Minecraft workshop, you can have Scratch, you can have any of the other lessons. You can decide maybe on a topic like the Olympic Games and really focus on Olympic Games, and at the same time do a few activities outside that also would explain Olympic Games and sportsmanship and things like that. I mean, the choice is yours. You can do anything in your holiday workshops, and you don't have to provide the children with lunch. You can, for example, say the parents have to pack a snack, and you can decide how long you want this workshop to be every day. Really, it's childcare is important, and you will definitely find that people will make use of that service. And then we also have some other projects here that you can use as part of your holiday workshops. So go and have a look, see what is available, and also look around to see what everybody else is doing. Obviously, the idea is not to copy the next person, but to use the examples and make it your own. Be creative. Then we have our marketing section. Now, on the marketing section, there's a vast number of advertisements that you can look at. Sorry about that. There's a lot of marketing material that you can use. You can use any of these existing flyers or images, and you can edit them. So they're also available in different formats. You can use it in printed media. You can use it on your social media platform. The choice is yours. Just always ensure that you add your own contact details. Another thing that I'm not too crazy about putting into any marketing advertisement or flyer is fees. Because remember, the moment you add a fee, it means that that flyer has got a lifetime. If you want to increase your fee, or if it was a special promotion, then you have to redesign your flyer or go edit the amount. I would prefer to rather say on my leaflet that parents can contact me for a quotation or for more information. And another thing to keep in mind is when you market on social media, don't give too much information. You want the client to make contact with you. You give them just enough to make them curious and want to inquire. Because if you say something and they don't find the flyer attractive and you've said everything that you could possibly say, and there's nothing forcing the parent or wanting the parent to phone you because they've seen everything that they wanted to see. But the moment a parent phones, it means there's a need, and then the ball is in your court. So make sure you give them enough information, not too much. Remember, it doesn't help you create your flyer and you've got too much text on there. It's just too overwhelming. You should have a few catchphrases, something interesting, especially images. There's some lovely images that you can use. But any of these examples are open to you to use in your marketing program. Then we have posters. Now on the poster section, there's some very nice posters that you can download and print. You can print these in A3 format, laminate them, put them up all over your center. You can use them as part of your marketing if you if you decide to do one of those pop-up stands in your local shopping center. You can print these out and pin them to your tablecloth. There's a lot of things that you can do with it. There's also additional posters that you can use. We've got these examples of banners. There's other pictures. So these are all available to you to use any way you see fit. Then we have our power of lessons. Now, important to remember that we are living in a time where there's a lot of load shedding or constant load shedding at some time or another. Now, the power of lessons are there for you to make your life easier. Now, in the past, when we had load shedding or the power was off and we didn't have a power pack, you would have had to reschedule or cancel your classes because you can't teach if you can't access the internet. Thank goodness nowadays technology has changed so much that we've got Wi-Fi just about everywhere. We've got things like Wi-Fi routers and Wi-Fi UPSs and portable data routers and things like that. So we can teach anywhere. But now it's a problem if we have load shedding and your computers run out of power. Remember, even if you have laptops, it's not going to last the whole day if you are busy constantly. Somewhere during the day, you're going to run out of power if it's an extended power outage. Now, the power pack is specifically there for you so that you don't have to reschedule or cancel any classes. You're going to print the power pack, the PDF document. You're going to put it in a box with the resources as required in the different activities, and you're going to keep that on hand. If there is an unexpected power outage or load shedding or whatever the case might be, you don't have to run around and cancel and reschedule classes because you don't have any power. Your learners can still come in, you can still present a lesson. The only difference is they'll use different resources to complete an assignment. So you're still stimulating them, you're still teaching them, and the only difference is for that session you did not use a computer. So this is a lovely tool, and it's a lovely marketing tool as well, to explain to parents that doesn't matter rain or shine, with or without power, we always have activity. We don't reschedule and cancel unnecessarily. So it's not, because that is something that parents are concerned about, that the child is on their way and then there's a cancellation or short notice, and they might be making use of special child transport, learner transport, things like that. So this will put the parents' mind at ease. That doesn't matter if there is power or not power, there will be an activity and your child will benefit from the session. Right, then we've got our preschool documents. Now, please remember the preschool documents are only for nursery schools or preschools who wants to have their own Computers for Kids centers. In other words, they are setting up the center, they are appointing a teacher, and they are running the curriculum. If you are going to approach preschools and you want to do the training at the preschool, then you will draw up an agreement between you and the preschool, whatever that might be. These documents are only for full-fledged training centers that are existing preschool centers already. Then we have printable math worksheets. So there's quite a variety of additional math worksheets that you can use. So you can use any of them, you can share them, you can send it home. So they're all printable, do exercises, give the children extra activities. Also, an ideal thing to do if there's no electricity or no power. Give them a few math worksheets to work out. Think about exciting activities that you can do with your learners. Then stationery. This is your center stationery. Here we've got the letterhead, your email signature, and the business card template. So edit the information on here, add your own information, and start using these tools straight away. Remember, it's part of marketing. If you send out a letter, make sure it's on a letterhead. If you send out emails, make sure your Computers for Kids footer or signature is there, and start handing out those business cards wherever you go. I mean, that's the ideal way to get your name out there. Then we have our Word documents. Now, the Word documents are all editable documents. You can use them as you see fit once again. I particularly like this document over here, the eLearner document. It's a very nice marketing tool, and it will explain to parents exactly what it is that we are doing. So this is something that I like handing out when I do any type of expo or a pop-up promotion stall or anything like that. So even at schools, open days, or just handing do leaflets, that is a very nice leaflet that you can use that will explain exactly what it is that we do. Then we also have an example of a registration form. We've got examples of booking forms. So you can use any of these templates. You can either use it as a guideline, you can edit them and then make it your own, or you can just get some ideas from it. We also have our certificate of achievement template over here. Now, this is the certificate template that I use to issue the certificates of achievement at the end of the year. So all my learners who completed a level or a volume will receive a certificate of achievement. So I would then create, edit the information, add their details in there, and then at the end of the year, for all those qualifying learners, we will have a little bit of an award ceremony, and I will issue the certificates with the digital portfolio. And the digital portfolio is basically all the lessons they completed throughout the year. I back it up onto a flash drive or a CD, and I give that together with the certificate of achievement, and then just a little something nice and sweet to say thank you for your hard work and good behavior. So we also have some reports here that's got a little bit more information. If you want to create a report looking slightly different than the regular assessment, here's some templates available that you can use here. On this registration form, now this is just a general registration form. Yours doesn't have to look the same. You can create any registration form that you want. I would from time to time look at other activities registration forms, and then I'll review my own and decide, okay, what has become unnecessary information or irrelevant, and I'll edit my registration a little bit. I would update my terms and conditions as well. So all my terms and conditions will be on the back page of the registration form, and that is also where the parent will sign, giving me permission to obviously teach their child, and also where the parent and the child takes responsibility for looking after the equipment that they use. So make sure you've got those clauses included in your registration form, so that learners, take responsibility if they manhandle your equipment, so that you don't have to pick up the tab for that. And we also, at the same time, we teach them to respect other people's property. And that's a very important lesson. We've got far too many people out there that disrespect others' property. So this is also a good classroom rule to encourage or to emphasize in your classroom. Then we've got our training resources. This is an important tab. So here on the first one is our documents tab. Here we've got your step-by-step guide on how to get your center up and running. Then we have the student management system step-by-step guide. So how do you add learners to the system? How do you grant them permission to access the system? How do you revoke their permission? And so forth. Then we also have a guide on how to present online classes. So there's a lot of programs out there that you can use for online classes, but this guide covers Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, and Zoom, which is basically the three most popular apps to use at this stage. Then there's also the participants manual for coding and robotics, made available by the Department of Basic Education. So if you want to know what is planned for coding and robotics and how is it being rolled out in schools and how is it applied, then you can look at this manual over here. And lastly, we have some robotics kits ideas. So if coding and robotics is something that you really want to focus on, have a look and see what robotics kits are available out there. Obviously, this is just some ideas. You'll notice as well on our marketing, on our marketing WhatsApp group. We have a lot of centers that share what it is that they're doing in coding and robotics. So please keep an eye out and follow those. You can learn a lot if it's a new field to you. And then the second tab, we've got our videos. Now, this is where you'll find the video library. There's a lot of videos here. We've got extensive library that you can watch on a lot of different topics. So for an example, there's an introductory overview. Here we've got the digital skills curriculum and marketing. Here we've got the high school and community curriculum. We've got high school and community, digital skills, marketing Q&A. We've got Minecraft demo. We've got a fee structure session. Let me just see what else we've got. I know there's a Canva. Here we go. Here's our Canva session. We've got a Minecraft tutorial, 40 minutes long. There's another marketing ideas. Here's a Scratch tutorial, assessment system. So there's a lot of videos here that you can watch. They are mostly approximately an hour each. This video over here is a 3-hour training video, so it's quite condensed. It's got basically all the information crammed into a 3-hour session. It's a little bit a lot to absorb. If you want to take it slowly, then rather look or watch some of the other videos, and then once you've got things going, you can watch the overall video as well. Also keep in mind, we don't record each and every session that we have because there's so many videos available already. So we'll only record sessions if there's something new or different that we are covering that hasn't been covered in a recording somewhere before. Right, then we've got our software tab, and this is where you'll find links to go to the websites where you can download specific software. Here is some software that you might need in your center. So follow the links, follow the instructions, and install them individually or on each individual computer. So that is something to keep in mind. Also remember that your computers should be fully installed and updated and checked before you start your first class, your first lesson. So before you start, make sure you've got Microsoft Office or Open Office or Google Documents, whatever it is that you're going to use. Make sure that everything is tested, that all the programs work, that there's no issues or no errors. It can be very frustrating if you start your first class and you are struggling with computers that are unresponsive. Then the community version printables. This is the printables for the community course. So all the lesson books for each of the lessons in the community course is available in this tab. You can download and print them. It's the only curriculum booklets that you can print, or lesson booklets that you can print. None of the other curriculums will allow you to print, only the community curriculum. So if you have your community, if you're doing the eLearner community, you can decide. You can either print a master copy for each of your computers and it stays in the center and everybody who shares the computer shares the booklets, or you can provide each of your learners with a set of the booklets as they complete the lessons. Then the last tab we've got here is our business documents. So here we've got the small business compliance requirements. Have a look there and see, make sure that your business is compliant, especially if you work with people and you're working on a premises where people come to your premises. Make sure that you are compliant in all regards, not to pick up any trouble or get yourself sued in the process if something goes wrong. Right, so that is our document section. Now the next section we're going to look at is our student session. So we are going to the student tab, And this is where you're going to add your students so that they can access the system. Now, if you've attended any of the other sessions before, then you will remember that I mentioned that a learner can't have access to the system unless you give them access. Now, how that works is the moment a learner signs up to your center, you will take their registration form and capture the information, what is required on the student system. So on the system, once you've captured your student information, you will be able to search for them alphabetically. And then you'll have your student list. Now your student list will have a first name, a last name, a username, and a password. Now remember, the username and the password is what your students need to sign into the system. Just like head office gave you a username and password, you need to give one to each of your learners. They must each have their own username and password. Otherwise, you can't track their progress. Okay, so username, any format that you want. You can decide what it wants to be. For an example, it can be a student number, or it can be something like a description with a number. Depending on your groups, the choice is yours. But find a format that's easy for you to remember and recall, and also not too hard for the learner to memorize. Then the password. Now, an easy way to create passwords is to use the children's names and surnames. Now, I do a combination of their names and surnames, and that way I know that it's easy for them to sign in and remember. Okay, then we also have actions. Here you can edit your students' information. Here you can view your students' information. And here you can remove a student if they're no longer at your center. Now, how do I add a student? So we're going to scroll to the bottom of our page. And then you'll see we've got two tabs available. Add multiple learners or add a student. Now, if you want to add a whole group, and you have an Excel spreadsheet, then obviously you can go and add multiple. As long as you've got all the information required for the different fields on your spreadsheet. If you want to add a single learner, you're going to click on Add Student. Then you need to make sure that you complete all the required fields. Now remember, mandatory fields are all fields marked with a red asterisk. So, username, you give the child a username and a password. You can decide what it is. Just make use of a format. Get something that you can build on. Don't just choose random usernames and password. It's going to be very confusing. Then your child's first name, other names, last names, country, contact. Does the child have contact information? Addresses, physical address, ID number, gender, and date of birth. Then you also need to add the parent or fee-paying party or guardian's information. So you will then select, if it's a guardian, select existing guardian, that's somebody that's on the system already, or you can enter guardian details if it's a new guardian. And then lastly, you can click on Add. If you completed all the fields that was required, it will tell you that you're successful, the learner has been added. If you left fields out, you'll get an error or a message to say, please make sure you complete all the fields marked in red. And then you'll notice all the fields you left out will turn red. All right, so that is how you add a learner to the system. Then, now once my learners are added to my system, I have to give them permission to access the system. So what you need to remember there is a learner can't sign in unless you give them permission to sign in. If a learner just wants to sign in and they are not granted access for that time, then they will get an error message that will say contact or call your facilitator, you are not scheduled, or something in that line. So how do we give our students access? So we're going to go click on student sessions. All right, and then you'll see the student list will appear here as well. What you need to keep in mind, you have a certain amount of licenses. Remember when you signed up with 3 licenses or 5 or 10 or 100 or whatever the case might be. Now the number of licenses will determine how many people you can activate at the same time. In other words, here we've got 40 licenses, and that means we can have 40 learners activated for the exact same time. So I can have 40 people signing in for the next hour, all at the same time. If I activate 41 people, then only the first 40 who signs in will be able to sign in. The other person, the last one, will get that error message to say they are not scheduled or they don't have permission. And that is to give you control. So you can train as many people as you want with the amount of licenses that you have, as long as you give them permission. And the more sessions per day and per week you have, the more people you will be able to train. So if we look here, we've got 40 licenses. If I have 10 sessions a day, that means I can train 400 people a day, 400 different people. Obviously, that is a little bit overzealous, but that is possible if you've got, for example, you might have more than one facilitator. I'm talking if it's just me, then obviously that's a little bit ambitious, but if you have 2 or 3 facilitators, then that is absolutely doable. That means you can train 400 people a day because you can give 40 people access at the same time. Now, how that works is when a learner comes in for a session, you have to go and select them on the list, select the duration of their session, and then grant them access. Now you will notice that the padlock opened up and the background changed to green, and we've got a duration of 60 minutes. Now that means for the next 60 minutes, these 3 learners will be able to sign in from anywhere in the world, as long as they've got a stable internet connection, and they can access the material. When the hour is up, the 60 minutes is up, the system will automatically kick them out. But you need to go and revoke their access before you can grant access to the next 3 learners. And that is how it works. So at the end of each session, you will revoke access from the previous group and you will grant access for the next group. And this is something that you will do throughout the day. So you have control when your learners access the system. So in other words, they won't be able to work ahead from home because they know their username and password. They can only access when you give them permission to do so. All right. We've got a few minutes left. Do we have any questions? No questions? Are we all good? Right, then I would like to thank you for joining me this afternoon. I really appreciate that you made the time to sit in the session. Remember, if there's any questions and queries that you have, please make contact on support@computersforkids.co.za, and then also keep an eye on our WhatsApp groups to see any upcoming training. We've got another training session on Thursday. I think it's at 10 o'clock, or let me just double check.